Alrighty. Hey, everybody. So we got a new microphone because for a while I wasn't able to do any of our lives because we didn't have a microphone. So my name is Jasmine. This is Flourish Homestead and Apothecary, and we are here to celebrate the new moon that just went direct at 7:36 a.m. this morning, and also to celebrate the Lunar New Year. All right, so we're just going to dive right in. It's late enough. Let's just get right to the point. Okay, so we're just going to talk about where all the planets actually are because that's how I like to start astrology. And so the sun is in Aquarius at 10 degrees and 25 minutes. It's in the fifth house. The moon is also, of course, in Aquarius. That's what makes a new moon. A new moon is when the sun and the moon are in the same constellation or zodiac sign. And the moon is at 9 degrees, or was at 9 degrees and 51 minutes of Aquarius, also in the fifth house. Mercury, so now this is an Aquarius stellium. Mercury is also in Aquarius, and it's in 3 degrees and 12 minutes of Aquarius, and it's also in the fifth house. Venus just moved into Pisces, and I think it'll be there till around Valentine's Day. Or no, I'm sorry, that I got that completely wrong. That was about Mercury, my bad. So Venus is actually in late degrees of Pisces at 25 degrees and 30 or 53 minutes. It's in the seventh house. Mars is retrograde in Cancer. And that was a big thing a couple weeks back. At 21 degrees and 3 minutes, it's retrograde, and it is bordering on the 10th and the 11th house, right? Saturn is in Pisces and it's at 17 degrees and 13 minutes. It's on the descendant line that is currently in the sixth house. Jupiter is in Gemini. It's at retrograde at 11 degrees and 19 minutes, and it is in the ninth house. Uranus is in Taurus. It's also retrograde at 23 degrees and 15 minutes, and it's like I said, retrograde also, but it's in the ninth house. Pisces is in the seventh house, along with Saturn and Venus, or Neptune, I'm sorry, is in Pisces, along with Saturn and in Venus, but it's in late degrees at 27 degrees and 54 minutes. It is in the seventh house. Pluto is in Aquarius at the infamous 1 degree still, but at the 59th minute. So it's pretty close to transitioning into that 2 degrees, and it is in the fifth house. Chiron is in Aries and is at 19 degrees and 26 minutes in the eighth house. The nodes, so the north nodes and south nodes, just switched. They're in Pisces and Virgo on the Pisces Virgo axis at 29 degrees and 57 minutes retrograde. And they are on the seventh house, north node, which is in Pisces, and the first house, which is Virgo, and it's the south node. And we also have the black moon in Libra, and it's at 23 degrees and 47 minutes. It is in the second house. Right. So just wanted to get that quick astrology out there. And so, like I said today, the new moon took place at 7:36 a.m. Okay. And it went direct at 9 degrees and 51 minutes. Now, for the first time, we're going to talk about degrees more. So please pay attention to that part. 9 degrees, because that's very, very important, because that degree is going to follow us all throughout this conversation, right? Okay, so that's when the moon went direct, and that's the degree that it went direct in. But what does this mean if you want to take this energy at a snapshot? So this means that if you have any of your astrological placements, either in your natal chart or your progress chart, right, in what is this in impacting Aquarius, right, then you need to understand what's going on, number one. And then number two, if it's fixed. So if you are between 6 and 14 degrees fixed signs are Taurus, is Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. If you have any of those in your big three or your personal planets, or even some of your outer planets, because we're going to talk about outer planets today too, then you'll need to know how to work with the energy, right? And so wanted to say that. And like I said, new moons are a combination between the sun and the moon being in the same astrological sign, which is Aquarius. So we always talk about what's a moon. So scientifically, from an astronomical perspective, because technically astrology is a type of science, it's the oldest science. You can debate your mama, you don't need to debate me because I don't really care. Anyways, so when we talk about the moon is a satellite. It's our satellite of Earth that is called in Earth's gravitational field. And people feel however they feel about the moon, but what is scientifically true and what is factually true is that the moon in our gravitational pull helps to control the wobble of Earth. And it makes the Earth more stable to live on for all of its inhabitants, including us, right? And so with this comes more stabilization of the climate, of weather, of the tides, and of gravitational pulls. But we are like between what 79 to 80% water, and since it controls the gravitational pulls of water, moon, right, it also controls the gravitational pulls within us, the urgings within us, the emotions, the ebb and flow, the more fluid parts of who we are within us. So what does the moon represent from an astrological perspective? So we call this the planet, but it is a celestial body. It's just a satellite, but it's a planet of emotions. And so it's who we are when we're our most comfortable, our inner selves. And since it's so close to Earth, it's said to have a profound impact, like we just talked about, on controlling our innermost world or our emotions, because it is the closest celestial body to Earth. And much like our emotions tend to be fluid, so does the moon as it's traveling through the 12 astrological signs, only spending between 2.5 days in each sign, right? And so much like how it controls or governs the movement of water and how it nourishes us, the moon also controls other aspects like Cancer energy, fourth house energy, motherhood energy, in addition to emotions. Okay, so that gives you a really, really, really quick snapshot over what the moon covers from an astrological perspective. Okay, so in addition to knowing what the moon does from an astronomical perspective and an astrological perspective, we also need to know what the sun is doing from an astronomical and astrological perspective, because that's what makes a new moon a new moon. And I'm going to keep on saying that until I drive that point home. Okay. And so, what we just need to know about the sun is the emanation of all heat and all light in our solar system. It is about 4.5 billion years old and is a yellow dwarf star. I know it's like a beta type 2 star or something. And again, it is at the center of our solar system. It is primarily composed of hydrogen and helium, and it's about 93 million miles away from Earth. And like I just said, it generates all of the heat and all of the light within our solar system, right? From a astrological perspective, the sun is masculine while the moon is feminine. And it is called the planet of self, even though it is not a planet, it is a star. So just wanted to say that. And it's considered to be your life force, your personality, your sense of your individuality. But it's also your ego, right? The sun represents your ego. And it's considered to be the source or the emanation of your identity or the face that you present to the world. And a lot of times we get that kind of confused with the rising sign, because the rising sign will be people's perception of you, right? The less unconscious parts of who you are and how it presents to the world. Whereas the sun, you are very conscious of these elements of your personality, and you may have even worked on refining them. Like, for example, I'm a Gemini sun, and I've never had an issue. Well, I won't say I've never had an issue with communication, but communication is very, very easy for me, right? And so I give that example just to be able to present the ways in which it is the emanation of the source of your identity. Yeah. But anyways, the sun can also represent your everyday challenges. A lot of people who believe in astrology often don't resonate with their sun sign a lot of times, so they go around like their Saturn return and different things like that. And it's because, you know, your sun is often the energy that you will grow into or that you will embody in this lifetime, in addition to your north node, right? And so, with that being said, you have to understand that sometimes you might not always feel like it, but that's because you're typically looking for, air quote, what we would consider the positives or the more lighter aspects of that energy. And a lot of times, if you look at it, it will represent your everyday struggles. So, very early on in your life, probably until your Saturn return, or a little bit after your Saturn return, most definitely up until about 40, sometimes your sun sign can actually represent the challenges that you have in your everyday life and kind of ways to overcome them. But overall, the sun tells you what your mission is in life and your life's purpose. But it's also telling you the person that you will be or you will grow into be, and how you will express your personality and your life force. The sun is also said to represent your inner child when properly healed and nourished, right? And so, just a little astrological frame of reference, the sun also governs the Leo constellation or zodiac. Again, it's masculine, yang, or action oriented energy, whereas the moon is governed by Cancer. It is feminine energy, it is yin energy, and it is receptive energy, right? And again, a new moon is formed when the sun and the moon are in the same zodiac sign. Like we just said, which is Aquarius, 3 times at this point. And now we're going to talk about the specific science behind a new moon. So, astrologically, a new moon is the first phase of a lunar cycle. We haven't talked about a new moon in a while. That's why I thought I'd bring this up again. And the moon is caught directly between the sun and the earth, with the shadow side of the moon facing the earth from our perspective. And from an astronomical perspective, it is also literally the complete opposite of a full moon. From an astrological perspective, it's when the sun and the moon are conjunct or less than 5 degrees from one another. And from a ritualistic, or when you are using it to manifest, call in, do root work, do any form of work with a new moon, it's a great time for planting seeds. It's a great time for setting your intentions, beginning new projects, and it's also a time for renewal. So historically, what we know to be about new moons in the womb cycle is often ovulation, but it can also represent like more so springtime energy. So I say springtime energy so that you really pick up on the vibes of new moons, okay? And so some of the things, or some of the rituals, or some of the routines, or some of the self-development habits that you can do um, around new moons. And the reason why I'm telling you all this year, because it's very important. We're not missing no new moons around here. Just wanted to say. Anyways, uh, it's self-care rituals. Planning, journaling, scripting, calling in, manifest, embodying, invocations, root work, pulling tarot, meditation, visualizing, vision boarding, new moon water, simmer pots, candle work, and altar work, particularly candle work on your altar, if you understand, is what you should be doing, or what you could be doing. I'm not here to tell you anything, I'm here to guide you on new moons. Okay, so when we talk about other specific areas you can work on during new moons are a great time to begin workout regimen. So physical stability, right? So it's a really good time to either do the research, do the budgeting, start saving for if you would like to start a physical activity, let's say kickboxing, right? Um, Sometimes a new moons, I'm sorry, I said full moons. New moons are a time to stop and align or embody, right? So make sure that your heart, your mind, and your soul and your body are on the same page so that you can embody your desires, your dreams, and your needs in order to create new pathways for yourself or new possibilities. Or what new moons can be used for is a way to infuse new life or sun energy, new life force, ovulation, masculine oriented energy. That's what the new moon is for, right? Into old projects or things that you are currently working on, but you just feel like they're losing steam, losing synergy. New moons are a great time for that. Overall, independent of what type of new moon it is, if you do not know where to start, You could always use every new moon labradorite. Labradorite helps you to physically align. So it helps your heart, your mind, your body, soul get on one page, right? And it's also a great crystal for fresh starts, transformation, and renewals, right? Some scents that you can use every new moon to help you get into that embodying, that manifesting, that calling down energy, or if you're doing root work, candle work, altar work, whatever it is that you may be doing, even doing ancestral veneration, because yes, new moons are for the ancestors too. I forgot to mention that. You can work with rosemary and lemon for fresh, bright starts or for renewals, right? You can use rosemary and you can use lemon for food, baths, prayers, meditation, teas, aromatherapy, stove work, such as simmer pots, right? But if you're going to do a simmer pot or use new moon water over the simmer pot, make sure you talk into the new moon, and remember you are calling things in. And so there's specific ways, I'm talking about to the left or to the right, or using the right or left hand, that if you're going to use a simmer pot, make sure you're doing it the right way. I'm not going to tell you, because again, hoodoo is a closed practice. And I cannot guarantee that everybody who sees this video is um, a part of the cultural heritage that is hoodoo. But what I can say is look up the generalized information yourself if you are going to do stovetop work or simmer work, altar work, beauty work, candle work, or somatics or aromatherapy work, or fortifying your electromagnetic field. So wanted to say that, like I just said, we are not taking any new moons off, right? This year is a 9-year. It's a 9-year, which is an ancestral year. This year is governed by 3 Orisha specifically. If you are in initiated collectives, Yemoje and Ogun are the 2 Orishas who rule the year 2025 from a 9-year collective or hoodoo energy, hoodoo numerology kind of perspective. Oya rules the year. So you have 3 very powerful Orisha who represent different elements of Ogun, technicality, getting things done, agriculture to a certain extent, right? Then you also have Yamonje, who represents motherhood and blesses all mothers and protects all mothers and women and children, right? And is very nurturing energy, water energy that is not fresh water, but ocean water up until you get to Olokun. But it is also Oya energy, which is a deep time of transformation. Oya, because of her having stillbirth children, gave birth to the Agun and the Agungun, which is the place where our ancestors are. The Agun for all of your ancestors who you have blood and bone to, and the Agungun is for exalted ancestors. And so when you understand that, you understand that if you're going to do new moons, you're going to sit at your ancestral altars on the new moon. And since it's a 9-year, right, you are going to make sure that you stay at that ancestral altar and you make that a part of your whole entire year's practice. So that was a long way of helping us to understand why we can't take no days off when we are talking about new moons, and making sure that we are A, working with it, but B, showing appropriate homage to the ancestors all the time during a 9-year, because of the Agungun and because of the Agungun period. I don't even need to talk about the Agun, but just wanted to say that. Okay, so let's jump right into what are the characteristics of Aquarius, and let's just learn about the vibe of Aquarius and the different elements of life that Aquarius governs. So the sun from a Platypus or whole sign or Western perspective, right? I would say Platypus, I don't know. But in modern Western astrology, right, the sun is in Aquarius from January 20th to February 18th. The symbol is represented by the water bearer. It is fixed energy. So as we know, fixed energy is a modality, and the modality is typically related to seasons, right? And if it is fixed energy, that means when we start Aquarius season, it's cold. When we end Aquarius season and we go into Pisces season, it's cold. Facts. It is air or mental energy, right? Fire energy. Well, it's not fire energy because it's air energy. But my bad, y'all. Brain fart because it's 10:43. But it is air energy and it is masculine energy. I got my M's mixed up. Um, it is ruled in modern astrology by Uranus, in traditional astrology by Saturn, and it governs the 11th house, which is the house of friendships, social dynamics, and social networks, right? But Aquarius also governs like philanthropy, humanity, innovation, technology, uniqueness overall, but also your own individualized uniqueness, and rebellion. And it also represents like complete liberation. And sometimes we may think that liberation energy has to do with Sagittarius energy, but it's liberation energy like at the soul's level because it is water bearing or ether or plasma energy itself. Like it is like quite literally the fifth element in the fourth state of matter. It is ether energy. That is what Aquarius energy represents to me. And so when you understand that, you understand that Sagittarius energy is about wisdom, but it's about wisdom of man, whereas Aquarius energy, because of its water bearing nature and the fact that it pours life, it gives life into everything else, is the wisdom of the soul, right? Is the wisdom of the soul. And because of that, that's why it governs collective energy, humanitarianism, philanthropy, things that sometimes we don't think goes with the other aspects of Aquarius energy, which sometimes can get the negative connotation of being not emotionally attached or detached overall or too rational, right? And it's because overall, I think we don't really understand balanced Aquarius energy as being the water bearer, as being the water giver, as being the emanation of ether energy unto this dimension, right? So just wanted to say that. And because of all of that, it also rules over like equity and equality, okay? In modern times, and we are talking about modern astrology, it is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is the planet that rules over innovation, rebellion, but Uranus's most important job, if you need to know anything, is to move us on this planet, the world, you, our community, everyone toward the collective direction that we all must move, because that is where the universe is heading. That is what the universe is going toward. So what do I mean by that? In this solar system, right? Uranus's job is only concerned with understanding the universal truth. And the universal truth is that our universe is propelling through, you know, space and time, right? And because of that, Uranus has to introduce certain elements through technological innovation, um, through that water bearing energy, through that rebellion and prodigal son, prodigal daughter, prodigal sibling energy to the collective here on Earth, but also within our solar system, to kind of just keep us in alignment with the way that the universe is naturally moving. And so, because of that, and because that's Uranus's primary function and control, um, it has no limits, but it also doesn't have any regard for who we are, our level of consciousness, our level of awareness, our fears, our needs, our desires, our limitations, and our boundaries. Like Uranus doesn't care about any of that. So I guess in a very unique way, we all have that in common. With Uranus is that collectively, at a collective level, because it governs kind of humanitarianism energy, it doesn't really care about what we need or what we want in order to get through the moment. It just only worries about getting us through the moment, right? So, because of that, if we were to talk about how do we learn how to embody Aquarius energy, Uranus energy, here's some keywords that I would talk about: idealism, community, liberation, liberty, equity, science, rationality, humanitarianism, right? Those words, study them phonetically, understand their meaning. If you call things down, do invocation, do altar work, like I said, do different things. with the tongue, with the mouth, if you utter things, if you know what I'm saying, like those are words that you can definitely use. Here are high vibration expressions, or the upper chakra expressions of Aquarius energy. And I'm just giving this for the clairsentient people, or for the highly sensitive people, and the people who are deeply, deeply psychic, because we can pick up on vibes. These are the people that these particular words of embodiment or invocation are used for. So highest or upper chakra uh, embodiment terms for Aquarius could be socially aware, humanitarianism, egalitarianism, civilized, impartial, outgoing, and unconventional, right? Lower chakras, or the bottom three chakra emanations of Aquarius energy, is cold, critical, aloof, overly rational, erratic, blinded by science and reason, no space for spirit, right? And so if you have wounds in Aquarius energy, or if an Aquarius energy is in um, you're a dark house, either natally or progressed, and so there might be some wounding around it. These might be some embodiments or expression that when you are doing kind of journey work with Aquarius energy, and you're working with Aquarius energy while the sun is in Aquarius or during this new moon, you might run up against those feelings, those embodiments. They may come out in journal, they might come out in scripting, they may come up in meditation, they may come up in synchronicities. So I just wanted to say that, and to help you be open to that awareness, because sometimes that is actually you doing work in self-development, or if you're a highly sensitive person, or if you use terms for embodiment, right? You can also make sure you have protections against that. So if you are leaning heavily into a phase of your life where you are leaning heavily into Aquarius energy, this you could do work, protection work, embodiment work around yourself, where you make sure you don't give into those more dysfunctional or lower three chakra elements of Aquarius energy unless you need to. Okay. We talked a little bit about the water bear, but the water bear, like I said, represents cosmic waters, the creator of water, the creator of life. Etheric energy is very much so that ether 0 point. There's so many different names that you can call it, but I am currently choosing to call the energy of Aquarius energy more so plasma energy, right? The thing that connects all of us. And yeah, it basically, when we talk about the cosmic waters of the water bear, is associated with the neutrality that we have at our core. So for the past 2 years that I've been giving classes on Aquarius energy, I often say that Buddhism, or the law of vibration, or the law of frequency, really represents Aquarius energy really, really well. And I think it's even more so embodied through the water bear energy, because at your truest vibration, at your truest frequency, at your truest form of who you just are. You are the cosmic waters, right? Like at your core, you are your cosmic waters. But not only that, you are unique in the way that you are cosmically. Like your cosmic waters are unique. There is quite nothing that exists like you, your vibration, your emanation, your aura, your frequency, your electromagnetic field, your aura, your energy. There's nothing quite like you, right? And it's because at the soul's level, we are all balanced. We are all everything. We are kind of getting into that one consciousness energy that then becomes Pisces when the sun moves into Pisces, which is that understanding that at our core, at our soul's level, we are neither positive nor negative. We are neither light nor dark. We are neither masculine nor feminine, yin nor yang, reception nor action. We just are. And emotions, like this life, are temporary, but they can be extraordinary and very unique Aquarius energy. But it is temporary. But you, in the core of who you are, your soul, is forever, right? So just wanted to give you some more like detail in our Aquarius gumbo soup that we building up here. All right. So if you also work like during meditation and you work with different words, some of the words that you can work with during meditation, during prayer to kind of call in Aquarius energy could be masculine energy, humane, scientific, eloquent, or intuitive. Like I said, tap into that water bearing energy of Aquarius. I love that. Aquarius is in my fourth house because I'm a Scorpio rising. I really do believe that outside of my Pluto energy, my Scorpio energy, my Capricorn energy, one of the reasons why I can read energy as well as I can is because I have Aquarius in my fourth house and my North Node is there. So I can exhibit a lot of these qualities, but also see Aquarius energy really, really well. Okay. So here are some other skills or things of embodiment that you might be working on in other areas of your life. So if you're working on upgrading your leadership skills, you are working with Aquarius energy. If you're doing more scientific work, you're working with Aquarius energy. But Aquarius energy in its more balanced forms is also known for being very truthful and very sincere and very humane and very cooperative, very unbiased. So you can work with that energy to really understand how to embody balanced Aquarius energy, which is different than the upper chakras and lower chakra energy, right? Like I just want to say that, like it's right in the middle. It's heart chakra energy, okay? Being inventive is very much so indicative of balanced Aquarius energy. Being philosophical is very much so indicative of balanced Aquarius energy. And like I said, this is called soul philosophy, right? Where we take universal truths and everything and new information and the facts that are Sagittarius and Gemini, and we metabolize them into like a soul's wisdom. And so the philosophical perspective that we're talking about comes from a Aquarius perspective because it's like soul philosophy and it's different than the philosophy of man, which would be more so governed by Sagittarius, right? Again, balanced energy for Aquarius energy is intuitive because of its water bearing nature, because it does create water. Pleasant, considerate, but also progressive. And we are not talking about progressivism as a political ideology or a political term. We are talking about progressive as in that Uranus energy of innovation, moving forward, making sure we are staying in alignment with ultimate truth and with the direction that our universe is moving in, right? Unbalanced Aquarius energy, which is, again, it can be the same, but it is slightly different than lower chakra Aquarius energy. So it's not the upper chakras, it's not the lower chakras. It could be just dysfunctions in dysfunctions in the chakra system when it comes to Aquarius energy. Okay, that's the best. And it can manifest as being gullible, being an extremist, especially during a misinformation and disinformation era that's taking place on technological social media spaces like it currently is, aka what's going on with all these social media websites. One second, y'all. I have to drink water and I think I'm about to do it really loudly. Okay, so sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that I've been drinking like hella loud lately. I've been chugging that water. So yeah, I wanted to say that too, when it comes to extremism, because extremism around disinformation, misinformation, CULTS, um, especially coming from social media, especially the things that are going on with social media, the fact that disinformation and misinformation is more so beginning to take place on social media is kind of the sign of the times, because Pluto is in Aquarius, so we are talking about unbalanced Aquarius energy, and that's why Pluto is, air quote, burning this down, right? um but it also will show up and manifest in different ways. And I think we are very much so seeing that with the current times that we are in. It can be inconsistent, detached, cold, stubborn, unpredictable, and aloof are all indications of unbalanced Aquarius energy. If you see that manifesting in the collective or within yourself, right? So yeah. Ooh, I have a conversation about Aquarius energy and extremism, but I do not want to talk about it out loud. Not without being behind a paywall, because I understand. Anyways, Aquarius energy, the deepest need for where you have Aquarius in your chart, but just Aquarius energy overall, is because of its innovation and its inventive abilities, and its need to always press forward, and its love of scientific information and scientific knowledge and rational information and rational knowledge, just being an air sign. Um, the deepest need is to know things, and not only to know things, but to bring new things into the world, and to have the freedom and the rebelliousness to experiment and to be able to report out, right? And be able to be like itself and innovate, right? And what Aquarius energy needs for balance, and it's ironic, this is why it is on a spectrum, or is the sister sign of Leo, because it often needs to feel things. Aquarius energy often has the the detachment from feeling their emotions, because Aquarius energy, because of this wide varying nature, can actually feel things very, very well, but it can also, because of its ability to have its rational nature and deep willpower, disconnect, right? And so feeling and warmth and emotions, insecurity and stability, and feeling safe enough to feel those deep feelings that you know you have, and feeling like you can turn off your brain and just be, is the deepest need for balance when we're talking about Aquarius energy overall, right? If you work with Aquarius energy a lot, some of the talismans that you could work with is lead. So lead, all metals represent ether energy, but lead particularly represents the ether energy of Aquarius energy. And you can also work, study, observe owls. If you are looking to balance out some of your Aquarius energy, right? And so now we are talking about qualities, which are a little different from its balance mechanisms or its dysfunctional, or, lower chakra, upper chakra expressions, right? And so one of the things I always like around people who have a lot of Aquarius energy typically is these people are very imaginative, and they are very affectionate. They have a very affectionate personality, very caring and catering to people's emotions and people's needs, right? Very truthful, very curious, very open-eyed and open-hearted about how they view the world, right? But some of the other qualities can be a bit detached from their own emotions, which might make them seem detached overall, or like they don't have deep empathetic capacities, which they often do, right? To get off track, to be ineffective, to be unproductive, right? If you're going to learn how to work with Aquarius energy, one of the ways you can work with it is making sure you do work on Saturday. Saturday is governed by its ancient planetary ruler, which is Saturn, right? So, boom, wanted to talk about that. And also, if you want to learn kind of how to work with Aquarius energy, Aquarius during this time period, because the sun is in Aquarius, the sun is actually in detriment, because the sun is ruled by Leo, and Leo and Aquarius are opposites. And so when you are a Aquarius natally, or choosing to work with the sun in Aquarius, please understand that it's often like you working with a new moon. So it's really important to work on a new moon, because a lot of the things that you work on right now, because of the nature of the sun going through Aquarius and it's not really having a strong ability to express itself fully, might be more so delayed until Pisces season, when that deep one energy and that deep sort of sense of oneness with source creator kicks in, or you have Aries season in the spring equinox, when we actually enter the natural new year, right? And so wanted to throw that out there. We've already talked a little bit too about how you can work with Uranus in general, but also please understand, when you're working with Aquarius energy, a warning that I will have about working with Uranus, especially with Uranus being in Taurus right now, we're going to talk about that more, is when you're working with Uranus, it is known to cause like upheavals or sudden changes in your life. And a lot of times, because it is air energy, when you're working with Aquarius energy, it can come in the form of having deep breakthroughs, or deep releasing of tension in the mental area and the rational area. And that could come and have a lot to do with Aquarius is fixed energy and fixed air energy also. You could also have a ratcheting up in the humanitarianism fighting energy if you are working with Aquarius energy that is even more fueled by Uranus's um, ability to govern fighting against injustices. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because oftentimes when you are working with the sun then in Aquarius, you will often need to work with other elements like Uranus because of its detrimented nature, right? And when you do this, if you're going to work with Aquarius energy, please understand that it could be a time for a lot of mental breakthroughs, a lot of you feeling very called to fight a lot of battles that either personally afflict you or afflict your community or someone in your collective, and or you will be fighting against a bunch of like mental tension, right? And fixed energy and the slow breaking through of that fixed mental energy, right? And if you do this the right way while working with Aquarius energy, when the sun is in Aquarius and kind of paying attention to where Uranus is, like what constellation is in, but also what house is in, you can kind of learn how to take that fixed energy to gear it toward the mindset breakthroughs that you want to have, and take all of the facts that you can gather about it from doing research, so like very Gemini energy, then the universal truth, so that Sagittarius energy that you get from the facts and the research that you gathered, and you can blend that into new knowledge, which is Aquarius energy, which is the fun part of working with Aquarius, right? Also, another way that you can work with Aquarius energy is if you look at your natal chart and your progress chart, you can look and see what's going on in your 11th house if you feel like you really can't get a good grip, or it's really hard to work with Aquarius energy because A, you don't have a lot or of Aquarius energy in your chart, or like I said, the sun isn't the strongest in Aquarius. You can work with 11th house energy. And I would say working with 11th house energy will be very, very, very beneficial to you this new moon. And it governs social networks, friendships, social dynamics, but also the 11th house governs like a certain portion of your hopes, your dreams. It can also govern social cues, social organization, social interactions that deeply impact your life. It also governs social roles, norms, and social behaviors that dictate group dynamics, right? But like I just talked about, we never talk about the fact that the 11th house energy often represents a certain area of your destiny, your hopes, your dreams that you hope to be able to call down into this lifetime. We know that the 10th house is right below the 11th house. So the 10th house is using that Earth Capricorn energy to call down things out of the 11th house, which is governed by Uranus and governed by Aquarius. And so in order to do that, in order for the 10th house to pull things down into the physical reality, since it is an earth-based house, since it's governed by Capricorn and Saturn, and the 10th house is the highest point in your chart, your hopes and your dreams in the metaphysical sense right before it's about to come down. So again, that water bearing energy is the 11th house energy, and that's why you can work with the 11th house in your chart either natally or progress to be able to help you with your dreams, right, with your hopes, and with your destiny, and the things that you want to be able to call down into this lifetime. So it could be, like your prayer routine, ancestral veneration, because like we talked about, it's a 9 year, and we're working with the metaphysical things. So you can really just either talk to your Ori, talk to your higher self, talk to your ancestors, talk to source, God, creator, Oludumare, like whatever you call source, creator energy, you can really tap into that 11th house. And again, that water bearing plasma intelligence ether energy, that everything that holds everything together, and really pull down your destiny into this physical reality with your 11th house, right? And again, it's because it sits on top of the 10th house, which governs achievement, accomplishment, and it's the highest part of your chart. And so with all of this is being connected, you can kind of figure out from a metaphysical perspective or energetic or a frequency or vibration perspective. Like, what's your uniqueness? What's the particular thing that you are meant to do, and kind of really hone in onto it. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can begin to meditate to your own like vibration. Like, that can be an intent. Like, I would like to meditate to my own frequency and vibration, and I would like the help of my ancestors, my Ori, my spiritual team, any of the people that you either pay veneration to, or entities or beings that you pay veneration to. You're able to help them help you do that, and you can direct them like through my 11th house, calling down. I'm just saying, y'all can do a lot. Anyways, I'm not trying to give too much away. And also because it sits up under the 12th house, and the 12th house is the house of God. It's the house of one consciousness. It is ether itself. It is one consciousness energy. And so because of that, that's also why you can use a lot of destiny work. But please be careful, because it is the house of friendships, social dynamics. So if you do believe in destiny swapping, right, and you've been a victim of destiny swapping, it can happen if you're doing this type of work and working with Aquarius, Uranus, or 11th house energy, where somebody else, because of the information that I'm telling you, could swap your destiny with you. So if you're going to do this type of work, if you're going to work anytime with the upper houses, I would always recommend you having a good grounding routine, a good meditation routine, a good self-care routine, a good sleep routine. You're eating well, and you're also doing protection work around you, your home, your aura, your energy, the energy of your home, and the people who are in your home, and the people who keep close community with you. Just wanted to sprinkle all that. And we are not, it's 45 minutes, and we are almost through it. All right, I think we're gonna be able to get through this within an hour, y'all. Anyways, we already talked about Aquarian energy in the past, already representing Buddhism energy, or the law of vibration, or the law of frequency. I think I already walked y'all through pretty much how you can use that. So if you have any issues with how to use Aquarius energy, one of the ways you can always start is by understanding that Aquarius is an actual place. It is a collection of stars. And of course, my computer will be getting ready to go dead, and my charger is downstairs. So 1 second, everyone. Okay, I'm back, y'all, and I also got hungry, so I'm gonna go eat some. But the quickest way, if you're having a hard time to figure out if you're an astrologist looking to be an astrologer, work for astrology on your own chart, or just needing to, you work with astrology for metaphysical purposes, right? One of the best ways is to, again, visualize where it is. So it actually takes up a place in a space in the universe. The stars that make up the Aquarius constellation actually do exist. It is one of the oldest constellations that exist in the sky, period, due to the age of the stars. I wish I would have remembered to go to my other notebook and get all the main stars that are in the Aquarius constellation down, but you can Google that yourself. Whew, I'm also out of breath because I was trying to run and eat at the same time. And it is one of the earliest discovered, Aquarius is one of the earliest discovered constellations that we know of as humans on Earth, that are of the 88 known constellations that we currently know of. It can easily be seen during the springtime in the southern hemisphere or in October. And of course, it has Capricorn to the west or to the left, and it has Pisces to the east or to the right. Okay. And so it is a physical place, and you can do more information about it to learn. So what is some of the personality type, or what is the collective energy, or what might be your energy of your personality when the sun is in Aquarius, right? So when the sun is in Aquarius, it's your yearly reminder of what is your own identity. Who are you? What is your unique path? What makes you unique? What's your unique knowledge? What's your soul urge? And what is your vibration? Because you are literally one of a kind. Nobody's vibration and frequency, your soul or your aura, is like yours throughout the whole entire universe. The mold broke when you were made, baby. And so the personality of a person when their sun is in Aquarius is thinker, can be more prone to intellectualizing something than actually taking action, which is sort of confusing because Aquarius energy could be considered masculine energy. But I like to also call Aquarius and Gemini energy more so gender neutral, because they can do both. And some to some extent Libra, because they can do both. But historically, it has been known to be masculine energy. But it is more prone to the overthinking when the sun is in Aquarius, right? It also has a commanding ability over communication and over the ability to be able to talk to people in language. The people whose sun is in Aquarius are very witty, very intellectual, very rational, can be very caring, very creative, yet independent, a humanitarian, loves interactions, feels very drawn to social interactions, but very much so needs time alone to process their emotions or to deep think, or to do the things that Aquarius does best, which is to tap in to that water-bearing energy, that soul plasma source energy, the energy that holds all of us together, right? Can be very broad and open-minded, but listen, when Aquarius is mad, angry, overwhelmed, overstimulated, hungry, or tired, can be very inflexible, very insensitive, and even defiant. Could have a reputation, but it's not really true, for being detached or aloof. Like, you don't have emotions, or you don't care about your emotions or other people's emotions, but you actually feel things very deeply, right? Period. So that detachment is kind of just like, it exists, but it's often a defense mechanism, right? So again, what are some of the positive qualities of when the sun is in Aquarius that you might notice, or you might have noticed in, I think, what are we about, day 7 that the sun has been in Aquarius? Is open-mindedness, humanitarianism, creativity, free-spirited, very intellectual, but also at the same time, some of the other elements while the sun is in Aquarius that you could have as a portion of your personality, but also could be feeling as a collective right now, is very impulsive, unpredictable, inconsistent, extremist, and stubborn. And again, I had a conversation with somebody about that extremism element because it showed up. Not that extremism hasn't been showing up with Pluto going back and forth in Aquarius for the past couple years, but it had a little sprinkle of that seasoning salt this past week. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, the moon, again, the new moon, and a new moon consists of the sun and the moon both being in Aquarius. So if you have your moon natally in Aquarius, or this might be the energy that you're feeling because the moon is in Aquarius, is very keen, very observant, studies human behavior, but from a humanitarianism or more so anthropological perspective, like studies to study with really not really needed to deduce any outcomes or kind of deducing of the sands of judgment. My necessarily speak in observable facts and phenomenon. And that's what I mean by, studying human behavior from a humanitarian or anthropological way. Understanding not only how individuals act, but how communities act, and so how like all of humanity acts. So the moon in Aquarius are the type of people who really have people figured out. Um, yeah. Moon in Aquarius people can be shy, they can be introverted, maybe detached from the surroundings, but again, they're not. It's just a delayed processing because of that misunderstanding, because of that strong willpower to be able to shut off the feelings and emotions, to stay present in the moment, and to be oftentimes able to address the issue or the needs of others before they go and retreat into that introverted state and decompress and process things themselves, right? Has a great ability to be empathetic and understanding, really understands people's stories and where they come from, their emotions, like I said, and their psychology, but oftentimes could play a role because of their strong willpower, again, in suppressing and delaying their own. And it might make them come off as detached. It might be a goal or a dream. Hold on, I'm trying to read and see what I understood, what I was trying to say. During this since we're talking about the moon being in Aquarius, these people also could have a very dreamy element to them because that 11th house energy does govern dreams and destinies and things like that. So, you could really be also feeling very dreamy right now. And a lot of times we don't start to feel dreamy until like Pisces season. And again, it's because there's so many things in Pisces. We're going to talk about that. But also because, of this dream and 11th house energy that can show up when we're talking about the moon being in Aquarius, right? Um, Very idealistic, very progressive, very forward thinking people with the moon being in Aquarius natally or the collective right now. Also very childlike, but having a great sense of humor. I've never met a person who the moon wasn't in Aquarius, or when their progress chart isn't in Aquarius, that doesn't have a great sense of humor and can kind of just understand the nuances of how people are working to come in and say like the best off the wall dry humor, but completely factual and hilarious things. So gotta love that about moon being the moon in Aquarius. Woo! All right. So one of the things that I said we would need to pay attention to, and that's why I kept on overemphasizing the 9 degrees, right? Is we just talked about in general when the sun is in Aquarius and when the moon is in Aquarius. Now we're going to talk about what makes 2025 be different. And also I wanted to go back because some other elements with the moon being in Aquarius that we want to talk about is energy where you don't allow others to get close to you is something that you could feel or be feeling very much so right now, or you kind of deal with often if your moon is in Aquarius. And it's because they're very smart people and they have this way of creating invisible boundaries around them that stops people from getting to know them, right, and being too vulnerable, right? Could be quick to anger when pushed over the edge, but they have a lot of patience historically, so it does take a lot for moon and Aquarius people to get over the edge, but also can be unreliable and unpredictable kind of because of that air element energy, even if there is a lot of fixed energy there. So this Aquarius season and this Aquarius new moon in 2025 is also the Lunar New Year, where we have the wood snake. But this particular infusion of how so many things are going, again, the sun and the moon at some point in time, they are still conjunct, but we're literally at the 9th degree, taking place at the 9th degree. And also we have Vesta is one of the comets like Chiron that we talk about, and we're going to start talking about asteroids more, but I have to introduce them properly. And Vesta is basically a comet that represents the keeper of sacred knowledge, not sacred line, but sacred relationships, sacred knowledge, just sacredness overall, to really like sum it down very, very fast. But that was also taking place at the 9th degree of Scorpio. And why this is important is because all of these 9 degrees, since 9 degrees is governed by Sagittarius energy, means that where Jupiter is right now, and that the energy of Sagittarius, because of the degree energy, it's really infusing its way into what Aquarius and what Pisces, because there's a lot of things that's going on in Pisces already have going on, right? And so again, when you have anything at the 9th degree, it is a Jupiter degree. So I guess I should start and communicate about what degrees are. So number one, in each of the 12 zodiac signs, they are broken down into 30 degrees, right? And so this new moon, which is the sun and the moon in the same zodiac sign, right, took place at a 9th degree, which is a degree that is governed or ruled by Jupiter, right? And it is overwhelmingly concerned with the higher mind or higher knowledge. This energy is the underpinning of the Aquarius energy that is also taking place because the new moon was at 9 degrees. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And you also had Vesta, which was at the same degree, but in Scorpio, which was also impacting this, which meant that, Pluto, which also is already playing a role in this, because we have an Aquarius stellium also for this new moon. And Pluto rules over Scorpio, and it rules over the 8th house, was also infusing the conversation around breakthroughs, around breaking mindsets, and around the innovation and the upgrades that you can typically have with a new moon like this. Okay. So I wanted to say that. And also we have a Pisces stellium. So Venus in the North Node and Saturn are in Pisces right now. So these are the things that make the 2025 new moon and Aquarius season different, right? We also have Mercury and Pluto conjuncting, in addition to the conjunction between the sun and the moon, which makes a new moon. We also have Pluto and Mercury, because they're also in Aquarius, conjuncting. And all of that energy is taking place in our 5th house, which is your house of hobbies, your house of romance, your house of creativity, and your house of children. And again, it is a Aquarius stellium too that's taking place in that 5th house, right? So there's a lot of concentrated Aquarius energy that is taking place in the 5th house. And all of this energy is taking place within the first decan of Aquarius, which is the strongest decan of Aquarius because it is also ruled by Aquarius. Okay. So when you have the Sagittarius 9 degree and you have this Pisces stellium and you have this Aquarius stellium in which Mercury and Pluto are all conjuncting one another, and then you sprinkle in, right, the trine that Jupiter has in Gemini while it's also retrograde and getting ready to go direct, so getting ready to turn around and go direct, we are having a very specific kind of conversation, for this new moon, right? And so when the sun is at the 9th degree, in all of these conversations that are going on, it's really us talking about career change. And I know this might sound crazy, but it's you right now building up that 9th house Sagittarius energy of collecting higher knowledge in order to fuel energy change. So right now you can have a mental clarity breakthrough around what you need when it comes to executing a career change. And it could come through the forms of higher knowledge or education or mentorship, or like a lot of people are doing right now, doing forms of self-education, being an autodidact. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then with the moon also being at the 9th degree, it more so represents the home environment. So there may be a lot of transformation with the moon being in Aquarius, and we might not necessarily equate it to that. But since my Aquarius energy is in my 4th house, I could see how this higher knowledge or this mental breakthroughs or a lot of these spiritual downloads could come around the domestic life, could come around home, and different other things when we're factoring in the other forms of astrology that's going on. And so what do I mean by that? When the sun and the moon is at the 9th degree, it represents a feeling like you need deep change, or you might need to travel to change, or you might need higher knowledge, and the higher knowledge that you're seeking might come from a different culture or a different way of life or a different form of thinking or a different type of systems thinking or a different understanding of things, right? And so it's that need for you to have transformational change, and then really getting the breakthroughs about what are the literal barriers that you're having issue in. And one of the things that you might find is that you want to find home, so that's moon at the 9th degree energy, in somewhere else that is different from your native land, or the sun in the 9th degree energy, which is often about career. Okay, so I know that may or may not make sense, but I wanted to over explain that because that's how this 9th energy is manifesting, right? It could very much so be in home changes, but in more so Jupiter energy, needing to experience new things, new ways of life, living abroad, new cultures, or immersing yourself in different types of knowledge. But the sun is getting a type of formal or informal knowledge that could change a career path. Okay. All right. And so I already talked about all that. I skipped ahead. I wasn't supposed to talk about that yet. But we just talked about what we talked about, right? And now I need to move on because we talked about the Sag or the Jupiter degree and how Aquarius feel exalted when it's in Pisces. And traditionally Pisces, is ruled by Jupiter before we discovered Uranus, or before we discovered Uranus, because we're talking about, no, it is Neptune. I am glitching, y'all, because I'm getting sleepy. And it's okay, so let me start over. When we are talking about 9 degrees of Jupiter or Sag energy, what I hope that you got from that is that Aquarius energy, with Aquarius historically being ruled or being exalted or feeling some sort of exaltation when Neptune enters Aquarius energy, means that you could really work with this 9 degree energy. If you work with degrees, to expect to get more, like I said, mental clarity around breakthroughs, right? About breakthroughs that you've had a hard time integrating, accepting, or coming to terms with, because of the fixed energy of where Aquarius might show up in your chart, either natally or progressed, or how it's impacting you at the collective right now. Woo! And this is especially enhanced by the fact that Jupiter is in its pre-shadow and it's going direct in February. And so that is making this little zing, because there's a trine that's going on with Jupiter and this new moon. It can add an additional zing that you can expect those mental clarity upgrades, like I said, to be in community, moving home, education, or even social media, right? Because we're talking about that 11th house energy if you choose to work with Uranus in the 11th house, but also accounting for that there could be new wisdom and a lot of spiritual downloads that you could be getting right now. And some of those spiritual downloads could be or feel more technical in nature. Okay, so wanted to talk about that. With this whole Aquarius stellium that's going on, but particularly with Mercury being in Aquarius, conjuncting or being less than 5 degrees away from Pluto in Aquarius, it's really asking, with all this Aquarius, this Jupiter higher knowledge, wisdom energy, like, do your words, Mercury energy, line up with your actions, right? Because Scorpio, or not Scorpio, but Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn, and maybe even to some extent Jupiter, are really all about your actions. Like, they really only care about, what do you do? What are you doing? What are you saying? And it seems like we are getting a nice check with this conjunction between Mercury and Pluto being so close together, and making sure that we are who we say we are in our actions and not just in our words, because people are watching us, right? Because of that 11th house energy, because of the humanitarian energy, because of being the rebellious soul and the prodigal son or the prodigal daughter energy. Like, people are watching you go through your journey. And so, are your words lining up with your actions to the point where you might not even have to say anything? Because Aquarius energy doesn't always need to talk a lot, especially when Mercury is in Aquarius, right? And again, since Pluto governs power and in your unconscious motivations to a certain extent, because it also that can get kind of Neptunian. But since Pluto governs kind of your internal motivations, it also is asking you to check your relationship with Mercury and Pluto being so close together with power, and really check in with your humanitarianism energy, as Pluto is in Aquarius. And one of the ways to self-govern and get in touch with that is to make sure, again, that your actions line up with your words, And is your motivations really about power, or is it about the collective? Okay. And also, you also need to be concerned with where Uranus is, because Uranus is technically the ruler of this new moon, because it rules over Aquarius, and it's also getting ready to go direct. So it's in a pre-shadow period. So again, overemphasizing if you want to work with Uranus, because it is getting ready to go direct, and because the sun is in detriment, that you can expect a time period collectively, we can overall, of unexpected changes, but especially in Taurus related areas, since it is retrograde and Taurus, in the areas of finances, money, resources, but most importantly, worth and value. Okay. And so there could be, or you could feel like there could be a delay of issues in a job change, or in resources, or in finances, or in different things like that. And please understand that it's not because you're not putting in the work. It is because it is about divine timing. And that is very timely for me personally right now. But also, that is literally what the astrology is saying, right? Is that there could be delays in areas of finances, in areas of more concrete, more second house, more Taurus energy things. But hold tight just a little longer, especially into Pisces season, as it get ready, as Uranus gets ready to go direct, because we will see a lot of things. And I work a lot with Taurus energy, so I'm very glad that that is coming up. Okay. And every time the sun is in Aquarius, one of the questions you always need to ask yourself is, what are the old templates that are holding you back, that don't fit your present self, or a future timeline or reality that you are currently working towards, right? And it's really a time to really, really rethink your personal goals, especially ones that center around the mind, intellect, mindsets, and rationality. But please don't misunderstand me. This is a very emotional new moon. People been glitching, which is why I haven't been present anywhere. So with Vesta being in Scorpio at 9 degrees with this new moon, this is a time to deeply preserve the sacred relationship with yourself and lean into that Aquarius introverted energy. If you find yourself, my lips are so dry. I mean, the level of dryness is so disrespectful. Like, I just happened to look at my lips and I was like, my God, like, babes, like, you want to find a lip gloss? Like, you want to check in? Because dehydration is real. Anyways, I think we can be done at 1:30, y'all. An hour 30. So yeah, maybe I should say next time, please sit down and do and get a drink, get some water. I'm gonna say that next time. But now that I have put things on my lips and we talked about that, I also wanted to say that every Aquarius season is often asking you to, what are your triggers, but especially this one. Triggers, especially in social relationships and romantic relationships, with that energy of a lot of Aquarius energy being in the fifth house, and the fifth house rules over our hobbies, creativity, children, but also romantic relationships that don't necessarily lead to marriage or a form of a contractual agreement, right? And so, what are your triggers or your outdated patterns in relationships around friendships? 11th house energy, and then 7th house energy. Where do you need, or not 5th house energy, where do you need to upgrade? Because, that's wild. That's wild. And when I say that's wild, what am I trying to say? I thought something, I can't say that out loud. But overall, every Aquarius season, but especially this one, always asked you, what are your outdated patterns? But this year, with it being in the fifth house, and all of this energy in Aquarius being in the fifth house is really asking you what might be your outdated patterns in relationships, and outdated patterns in relationships when it comes to romantic relationships, but also if you're a parent with your children. It also might be asking you, do you have any outdated patterns or limiting belief systems around your creativity or your hobbies? Because that would be a really good time with that Aquarius energy to get back into them, right? And overall, Aquarius energy always asks you to be more innovative and more assertive and more open and curious about how you can upgrade your mind to create new possibilities and new pathways to be able to do different things, okay? And like I said, it's a really good time to rethink through your personal goals, so that at a mind, intellectual, and mindset level. And like I was on my way to saying, it is an unbelievably emotional new moon. Don't let that Aquarius emotional detachment, because of this Pisces stellium, because the North Node specifically and Venus is there. There are a lot of feels. There's a lot of icky, sticky gushies that are going on when we're talking about this full moon. And it's because Saturn, Neptune, Venus, and the North Node are all asking us to lean more into our creativity, which is our spirituality and our sensitivities, and allow for it to manifest in that fifth house energy into our hobbies, and even Taurus, Uranus and Taurus energy for the resources or things that we have for ourselves. So I just wanted to highlight that. And additional things, there was many of the personal planets, so Mercury, Venus, and the nodes changed, right? So with everything I just said, I kind of dibbled and dabbled and gave you little ways that you can work with it. They were very technical for certain forms of practitioners. But now for a person who is in the beginning stages or the intermediate stages of their practicing, one of the ways you can really work is dream. Get as much rest as possible. And I know people are like, what are you talking about? It's Aquarius season. It's rational. It's masculine energy. It's action oriented. You should be doing things. And that's also a new moon. Yes, but we have a Pisces stellium. You should be resting, because resting during this time period, and while we're gearing up toward Pisces season and all these planets getting ready to go into Pisces after it gets done with Aquarius, will basically be telling us that we need to spend a lot of time in the astral world doing metaphysical work and loading up that 11th house energy to be able to call and bring things down into the physical. So make a priority to rest, make a priority to do deep meditations, to do sound therapy, to do frequencies with the connection that Aquarius energy has with frequencies and with vibrations. Make sure that you're clearing your aura all the time. This is a time where, again, because you could be getting a lot of downloads, spiritual, technological downloads, the clear cognitive energy and clear sentient energy is super high right now. Please prioritize rest. Because there's just going to be a lot of energetic and spiritual upgrading that's going to be going on. Also, since Aquarius energy and the moon been in Aquarius energy and the sun been in Aquarius energy oftentimes is about thinking, this is a good time to go back and try to tackle an old problem that you ran out of energy to be able to do. When you're not resting and you're not dreaming and calling in new things or being excited and getting back into that fifth house energy and figuring out what your hobbies are, maybe there's a hobby or an old habit or an old plan that you had to stick by the wayside because you couldn't figure out how to do it. And with all this fixed energy being there and the fixed energy being mental breakthroughs and that Pisces energy, just kind of with that stellium pushing down on a lot of spiritual downloads, it could be a good time to find solutions to problems that you've been kind of, not been able to find the solution to before. And like I said, it's a great transition as it has been when the South Node was in Libra, and it's really no different when the South Node is now in Virgo. We are still on a pathway of reckoning with our relationship. So again, it's a time period when you're working with 11th house energy of making sure that you aren't already on burning roads or bridges that have been burned with people. It's a time period to reevaluate, especially in the romantic and friendship arena. Who are the people that you let close to you? Who are the people that you let in your dreams and know about your routines and how you spend your daily life? What is their intent? Do they wish you well? Don't they wish you well? Because again, like I said, the 11th house energy can govern certain portions of dreams and hopes, but also friendship. And please understand that every friendship and every romantic partnership, because again, that Aquarius new moon is taking place in the fifth house, don't mean you will, especially with Venus being in Pisces, and you can be delusional about it because it's in the late degrees of Pisces. So wanted to overemphasize that because of the solar flares that are going on right now and the somatic detachment that Aquarius energy can do when overwhelmed or overstimulated. Please make sure you're doing Reiki. Please make sure you're doing your EFT pads, making sure you're going to talk therapy so that you're able to intellectualize your feelings and your therapist is able to help you then identify maybe emotionalities, working with your spiritual coach or your life coach, or making sure that you're doing some form of self-development when you're not working right now is very, very important to make sure that you're making sure that your brain and your body are on the same track. Okay, be careful with all this energy that is going on with Pisces and Aquarius energy around sugar. Dehydration is real. Your pancreas, because it's so cold, is working really, really hard, but also with alcohol and other drugs. Please be careful with drugs. Even prescribed drugs, because of the Pisces stellium and the detachment energy that sometimes is Aquarius. So be careful with drugs during this time period, okay? And do Reiki work, do healing work. It's a really good time because of what it governs. Aquarius energy governs your ankles and it governs your circulatory system, which is also why you need to stay hydrated because the circulatory system and avoid sugars right now. Because of that high propensity, stay away from drugs if you can right now. And it's kind of related to that. So you can do prayer work. Remember to schedule your doctor's appointments or do different things like that. If you have an ankle doctor or a podiatrist, or if you need to go see a cardiologist, or you just need to go and do a generalized checkup, right? Like I said, with mis and disinformation, with Mercury and Pluto having that little conjunction right now, if I were you, I would stay away from social media and maybe social networks. And if you were going to be on there for things like healing talk. You know what I'm saying? To learn something, to get information, or to relay information. But please don't doom scroll. Please don't doom scroll. Heart chakra, or not, yeah, I guess so. Heart chakra work, you can do that because that just came to me intuitively. But Aquarius energy rules over the root chakra. So please don't be afraid to do root chakra meditations, sound baths, especially the ones on YouTube that are free. Please do those. It is transformational and it will do a lot of the auric and somatic work for you to make sure that you're fully present. Work with hematite right now. So I can't really show, I guess I can, but I do. My God, these are my necklaces and some of the beads that I wear. I do work with hematite, so all of these are in hematite. I will not say how I work with them, but please work with hematite right now. Work with garnet right now. Work with amethyst right now. All of these are ruled by Aquarius. And also work with angelite. I don't know if I have angelite around me, but I usually have angelite around me. Also, we will be talking more about this later. But it will be a lunar, it is the Lunar New Year currently right now, but we will be talking more about the Lunar New Year and the 9 collective year in numerology and the Orisha that are over 2025 more in depth and how to work with that overall. And so the last portion that I will say before we get out of here and before I also list the herbs that you can be using during this time is, again, during this Aquarius new moon, if nothing of what I said made sense to you, thank you so much for hanging in this long, and make sure that you ask any questions. There'll be more videos like this coming free. This is my heart's work, so I will offer monthly free new moon and full moon readings like this, where I'll give you information on how to work with it. I know I relayed a lot of information, but the best way is to look up where Aquarius is in your chart, right? And then you can look up the 5th house, because all of the Aquarius energy is concentrated in the 5th house collectively right now, right? You can see which of your houses are ruled by Aquarius, right? You can see what celestial bodies that you have in Aquarius. Maybe you do have the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus in Aquarius, right? Maybe your North Node is in Aquarius, because there's some of us generationally whose North Node is in Aquarius. You can work with that energy. If you're also an intermediate or advanced astrologer, you can work with the Aquarius energy at the degree level, so you can figure out like that 9 degrees of Aquarius, where it is in your chart, and you can specifically work with that energy, because it will tell you what specific area of Aquarius you need to work on. Like I said, you can work with Uranus. It's going direct. You can kind of work with that trine in Jupiter and do different things with it. But if you are going to do different things, make sure that you either use, if you're going to do altar work, yellow candles, or just dressing the altar in yellow or blue or like a violet color. Those are the colors of Aquarius. And also a little bit when you talk about the violet of Pisces. So like I said, altar work, dressing, you can do different things like that. If you're going to do that, it's a good time to make moon water. It's a good time to do, like I said, simmer pots, where you take the moon water and speak into it and infuse it and turn it into a spray. It's a good time for working with eucalyptus right now and working with very invigorating sort of things, because it is a new moon. What other things can you do? Oh, I forgot to mention the foods. But some of the herbs that you can either do on your altar, turn into a tea, or do many different things with are lavender, kava kava, peppermint, myrrh, ooh, comfrey. This is last year's notes. I didn't even bother because I know they didn't change. Linden, burdock, catnip, passion flower, skullcap, damiana, motherwort, nettle, lemon balm. If you're going to dress your altar with flowers, please, you can do linden. Again, it is a herb, but it's also something that you can place as an offering. Lemon verbena, lemon balm, yarrow, orchids, or citrus fruits are also great things to add as offerings. And if you are going to specifically focus on in balancing anything, making sure that you use kava, lavender, and chamomile for calming and centering activities, especially with all the fixed energy and the mental downloads that might be going on. And also because it's so cold outside, and again, making sure you stay away from sugars, making sure that if you're going to do any lifestyle or holistic changes, you kind of hyper focus on blood tonics for it and improving circulation and oxygenation right now. So even though these aren't ruled by necessarily Aquarius energy, I am getting like use a lot of ginger and garlic, and I'm using a lot of ginger and garlic myself. And just make sure you lean into that more humanitarian energy if you want to work a lot with this new moon over the course of the next 2 or 3 days. And make sure you lean into humanitarianism and have empathy for people and hear people out and put out there that people will do that for you. So I know that I am missing something, but we had a great run. I'm so happy to be back. And yeah, y'all, we are just going to end it here. Thank you so much for coming and showing up. We are probably going to go live again this weekend where we will learn more about the 2025 collective year. And at some point in time, I'll tell you more about the other things that we do within Flourish Homestead and Apothecary here on YouTube. I can't believe I'm doing this. But thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And please give feedback. Again, this is long form astrology. These are for people who use astrology to pick apart their chart. I am trying to get to a place where I do education for people who are beginners in astrology. But for right now, my long form videos are really the only thing that I can manage. And because it is a deep reflection, and so is overall Flourish Homestead and Apothecary, a deep reflection of my own healing journey, I can only give information right now. But I am working my way up toward it. To giving high level detailed information because I'm serving so many different types of people. The best way I would say to work with the energy that I gave you is to take your time. You can work with new moons, 3 days before a new moon and 3 days afterwards. And right now, tonight, you could just lay in the energy. And this is what I often done when I was a beginning practitioner, of sitting in the meditation of learning and surrendering in the meditation of learning and being a student, right? Because tonight we learn how to work with the moon, work with the sun, work with the Aquarius constellation, and also work with the aspects and the different conversations that the planets were having. But we also learned how to work with a specific degree because of how strong it came up, which was the 9th degree, right? So with that being said, take your time. Don't be afraid to Google. Don't be afraid to pause me and go watch another video that might explain what a decan is, or what these different, or what a degree is, because I haven't fully expressed it here. So I just wanted to overemphasize that and just say, most importantly, ask questions, reach out. I love interaction. I'm an introverted Gemini, but communicate with me and give me your thoughts and let me know that you're here. And if you're here, put an apple emoji at the end of this. Thank you so much. I hope you're loving yourself. I hope you're pouring into yourself. And I hope you know that you're your own wildest dreams. Bye.